Hello again, everyone. This is Game Collector, and I have with me a box, specifically Onslaught's box, since I didn't cover them all in their individual reviews, at least to this detail. I'm going to show you the series number, and when I'm done with that, we're going to get on with Bruticus! Finally! This is going to be very long, so prepare yourselves. Okay, Onslaught, Series 1, number 4. Swindle, Series 1, number 5. Vortex, Series 1, number 6. Brawl, Series 1, number 7. And lastly, Blast Off, Series 1, number 8. Okay, with that out of the way, I can finally bring the Combaticons in their robot modes. And you can stare at their feet while I adjust the camera. Now, I'm putting them all up here without their weapons because they will be turning into individual parts. And why did I put them all up here if I'm going to turn them all into individual parts? Because I'm an idiot. So, let's pull the camera back a bit because I'm going to need all the room I can get. And then pretty much remove everyone except Onslaught here. Set them off to the side. And now let's get to work. First of all, we want to get his arms out of the way. So move those. Or not. Okay, what we want to do is get this giant thing out of the way. And we can also do the legs. So yeah, do this first, because it's easier. Okay, there are the legs. Then you fold that down and make sure that's nice, tight, and secure. And then you fold that around, and now he's bow-legged, sort of. Okay, next thing we do is rotate his arms so they're facing inward. Push them up like so, because you see a giant head back there. Push them up and make them grab these little pegs, like I just did on this side. And reposition them like so. And now the final step, push Onslaught's head down and turn Bruticus's head forward. And let's not forget to flip up these little pointed bits. Pardon me, I still have the manual adjusting camera. And so we have Bruticus's body. Or do we? There's one part missing. Set him right there for now. Well, you obviously can't see it, but the green gun that Onslaught came with. Now, these little holes right here will fit on these 4 little pegs on his back. It'll also cover up this giant gap in Onslaught's face. So that'll just peg right in. And now you have Bruticus's torso, which will just be laying there on its side. Next up, we will do Blast Off, who I probably should have put into a vehicle mode. So we'll just do that. Trust me, it's all easy. It's much easier if you have all these guys in vehicle mode to start with. I had them in robot mode because I didn't feel like doing them before the video, and it's just all real complicated. So there's that. Oh boy, I forgot how to do this already. Oh no, wait, there we go. So first we're going to, well, no, we're going to put him in arm mode first because he's already set for arm mode. And he can form either a left arm or a right arm as soon as I get the pads in their place. Okay. And yeah, this little peg will slide in here and the hand will peg together. And here is the right arm formation, and here he is his left arm. Or you can just leave both thumbs down. I personally prefer him as a right arm. And then, you know what, I'm just going to show you him as a right arm for now, before we get to the mixing and matching. So, set him right there. Next we have the other arm. Again, this requires converting the selected Combaticon back into their vehicle mode, pardon me, and then in turn turning them into a limb. Vortex is probably my least favorite one to transform. He is not fun. Most of his joints are either too loose that they don't like to stay together, or they like to all fall apart. They're either loose and they want to fall apart, or they're tight and don't want to... You get the idea. Not fun. At all. Oh, wait. That's wrong. I don't like his arms either. That's wrong. There we go. No, that's still wrong. What the heck? Yeah, it's symmetrical, and yet I can't figure out how it works. Big surprise. Okay. Finally. I hate his arms. And now the worst of it's over. Thank God. And now, before we go doing that, you get back in there. You get back in there. Why don't you get back in there? There. You take this section and pull it down. Make sure these two little tabs go in these two little slots. And it'll click in place. And now you can give Bruticus his other arm. Which is cool because this one, this is the left arm for me. This is the left arm configuration. And that's the right arm configuration. He'll be a left arm for now. Thankfully, the conversion to leg isn't that difficult. And also, if you don't feel like having Bruticus have a hand, you can give him a gun for an arm. Congratulations, he is now Shockwave Bruticus. It's even on the proper side, too, on the left. Or you can put it on the right, like in that lousy movie. So, Next up we have Swindle, who's probably the best leg here. So, you pretty much transform him like you would to put him in vehicle mode, except you don't. There's a minor difference here, and his head doesn't like being folded in all the way, or being folded in at all. And now it is. He got over it. First of all, you make sure that is pulled all the way up. And again, like I said, make sure you make it so that it's like he's in vehicle mode. You can even turn the pipes around. It's not necessary, but if you want to. The only difference is that you keep his feet folded out. So, fold those up. Or back, or whatever. Oh, that's right, I forgot to rotate the waist all the way around, so yeah. 'Cause I'm dumb. Okay. Oi. Okay, I got one arm in, then it pops right out. I hate you. Took me forever to find you, and you're the least cooperative when it comes to forming limbs. Now, next to Vortex, as you have already seen. There! Now, as opposed to plugging them in, these little pegs, right here and here, you will be putting them, not up here, but in the ones slightly... Where's a toothpick when you... Oh, there's... No. Yeah. Conveniently, there is a toothpick nearby. This is where you would put it normally for his vehicle mode. The ones just above it are for the leg mode. Okay, and there. All done! And you can have these pointed down or up or whatever. I'll put them down for now. Makes them less obtrusive. And we have a leg. And it can either be the right leg or the left leg. Either way, it's a leg. Lastly, Brawl. And again, for him, you pretty much just turn him into a tank. And this is probably taking up most of the video anyway. Although there are some minor things that you have to do first. And everyone will get a turn as an arm and a leg. Just saying. Okay, remember to loosen that up so the legs will actually go in. There we go. Now, instead of going all the way as a tank, unfold these, and be sure to make this little tab, that little tab hanging off there, clip into that little notch. There. And then these little tabs on his arms will go in there. And there's part of the foot. And then you have this giant thing. Fold this up. And these little tabs will go into those slots. And there you have the other leg. Now, all that's left is to take this and that's one. Brawl has probably got to be one of the most difficult ones to put in. 2. And I think I might need a little bit more height for my camera. That would be a good idea now, wouldn't it? A little bit more. Little bit more. Three. Almost done, and he's already starting to wobble backwards. And 4. Now, I'm not one to complain, really, except when I do. But the common complaint is, oh, he has a long gorilla arm on one side. Or you can make it even by doing this, and it looks stupid. Trust me, it doesn't look that great. Or as great as people try to make it look. It looks horrible. And the Japanese version has this flipped around, and again, there's not much you can do with this guy and make him look like he's even at all. Unless you use these guys as arms and use these guys as legs, which we will do in a few moments. Next off, we have the gun assembly, which we will push him back for. First of all, you start with this Swindle's gun. It's the base. I should probably lower the camera down and adjust it a bit so that everything is blurry. Okay, so you can start with this. I don't use Onslaught's gun for any of the weapon combinations. So there are 2 things you can do. You can... Well, there are quite a few things you can do. My personal favorite is to take Blastoff's guns, attach them next. And then you can either put Vortex's guns in their barrels, or use these little holes and attach them on the pegs, and you get a big 5-barrel gun, which is my personal favorite. Or put Vortex's guns in, which don't really connect all that well. I mean, at all. And then attach Blastoff's guns onto those. Still 5-barrel, but not nearly as good looking. Or, again, use Blastoff's guns and merely attach Vortex's guns in a completely different manner. For example, the bottom peg, which they don't particularly like being attached to. So that's a bad idea. We'll just go with the default look, and again, not going to use Onslaught's gun at all. Okay, here we go. And this gun can fit in the Vortex arm. Since we're looking at it now, the Vortex arm, and currently the Blastoff arm. Now, I actually made this up myself. You know, when the arm actually wants to let it go. And amazingly stay mostly stable Pardon me, his arm did come apart, so you'll have to bear with me for a few moments. Problems of having a Gestalt. And this is the first modern Gestalt we've had. Ever. Oh, no, I can't really say that. This is the first modern Gestalt since those really lousy combiners from Energon. Granted, those were Scramble City style modernized, but it was 3 molds in a set of 5. Anyway, this is 5 separate molds as a set of 5! But you know, cutting corners. Anyway, what I was going to go on about is you can give him a fake jetpack by storing his guns, storing Swindle's gun, Swindle and Brawl's gun in the middle, and then taking Vortex and Blastoff's guns and making them into little wings. And it gives him kind of like this look of having a jetpack or something. This is also a great place for weapon storage, and putting it in this configuration keeps it out of the way, believe it or not. Let's look at that from the front. So he has a third gun peeking out over his head, and 2 little fins peeking out. You can kind of raise them up. Granted, the arms kind of make them invisible until you raise them up about that high, and then it looks like he has a wing pack on. But you can keep them folded down. Now that you've seen him in this configuration, I suppose I can rip his limbs off again, which you kind of do by pulling. You don't... It's not suggested that you pull them. People have told you to... I've seen people try to pull them straight off, and I would never try that. So I just kind of pull them a little forward and then off, because these things have shown that they're durable enough to take that kind of, not really abuse, but... Okay, just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now you get to see the arms become legs and the legs become arms. So, fold this in. Pretty much prepare to turn him back into his jet. Except instead of folding the legs in, you keep them folded completely out. And there you have Blastoff leg. Vortex is a little bit better. You fold the hand in, you pull the gun out. And then you pretty much fold 90 degrees until it's like this. Pull the little skirt out a little bit. And you can rotate the blades in if you want to. Fold that in. And there you have Vortex leg. For Swindle, you pretty much unpeg the arms. I've never actually gotten Swindle to form an arm before. This is going to be a first. You pretty much fold the arms backwards to make sure that they peg in again. And it helps if you have these pulled out then. Again, I've never had Swindle as an arm, so I'm not completely sure if this is right or not. It probably isn't. So... and then you pretty much fold those in. And here is the right arm Then you just flip it over and pull the other hand out to have it the left arm. Alternatively, I think I'll just have them like that. You can actually disconnect this so you can give his arm a greater range of motion. Alternatively. So you have one arm, and this one's the fun one. You pretty much turn him back into a tank, unpeg that, fold these back in, but you pull his legs out. God, my arm is killing me now because I'm holding all this stuff up. You fold these plates back in. You can either have this folded out or keep it folded up. Pull this down so he has some sort of arm movement. No, pretty much keep it like that. Now you turn these inward. I'm actually... Ah! This is not easy. And you pretty much fold out those flaps on the sides and then try to connect what were Brawl's legs together. And you can either have this folded back like that or folded in like this. I'm going to have it folded back so it's going to look really stupid. And there you have the Brawl arm. And what were Brawl's feet can become little tiny thumbs. And this is the right hand. Oh, hand. Oh, there we go. There. That's the right hand form, 6-finger hand, and left hand. So now that these are all configured in the alternate modes, you can plug them back in. And yes, I found that when these little tabs, you can see how they are sticking out to the sides, it's actually easier for them to form legs. Although in Vortex's case, he can form an arm and a leg either way quite easily. Since I don't know Swindle's proper format for becoming an arm, it's And that doesn't want to stay in. Again, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do to make him an arm. No idea. Come on, get in. Get in. Ah, finally! He's an arm! And God, I really did do a bad job at putting him as an arm. Fold those in. I guess that kind of works, I suppose. Oh boy, here's going to be the fun part. Yeah, saw that coming. Frustration, I have... Ah, finally! Finally! And you have Bruticus in mode 2. And I've seen the G2 version in this configuration. I actually prefer the G2 version in this configuration, even if I don't actually own it. So, yeah. Posability. It's at the shoulder. Right there. In and out. And again, pretty much the entire posability of this. Okay, I'm just going to rip you off after we're done, and I'm going to put him back in his default configuration because that's the way I prefer him. And that's the posability for that, since I didn't show you the posability for the other one. And oh boy, Swindle gets to be a leg again. Granted, that's better than having him as an arm. And so far I haven't said anything about Bruticus from Fall of Cybertron. Why? Because I still don't have that game. Because I can't afford it. Yet I could afford Bruticus. Well, Bruticus was a Christmas present and I didn't actually pay for him. How about that? Swindle? Really? I hate you. I hate you so much. It's actually quite easier if you don't have Swindle's pipes facing out. You can change that after you turn him into a leg again, and he can't put up a fight. Excuse me. So I'm going to have him as a leg, since he actually has he's the most stable, for one, and two, it works. It just plain works better this way. Brawl can be an arm and a leg for all I care. Well, an arm or a leg for all I care. Same thing with Blastoff and Vortex. I've heard complaints that using other characters for legs, aside from... I don't remember who it was, because honestly, I really don't remember who it was who said this. They say, Swindle is the best leg, and pretty much that he's the only one who can do the job in either mode. I don't know how to put Swindle as an arm, so I hate him as an arm. Because the instructions that are included, and I'm not joking, even though I don't have them out right now, the instructions only give you... the instructions only give you the instructions to put Bruticus in his default form, the one seen in the video game. Which kind of makes sense when you really think about it. Oh boy. Pardon me if I'm doing most of this off camera. It's easier than doing it on camera, for one. And yeah, I could just edit this out, but I don't feel like it at the moment. Also, I don't know how to edit. Go ahead and insult me or post whatever comments about that. I can just get rid of them. Sorry for sounding a bit bitter. This is not something fun, amusing, or enjoyable in any way until you get them into a state that's fun and enjoyable. The combining part is the least fun part about this toy. And that's kind of saying something when this is the best combiner since the G1 combiners. Or the G1 Gestalts. That's kind of saying something. I really didn't care much for the Japanese ones, the Energon ones, that much, because they were all floppy and loose. And I could never get all of the parts. I always wanted to have Bruticus. Well, I have a Bruticus now. And almost there. Okay, got the arms. And the legs. Now, if you're going by Fall of Cybertron, Bruticus was created by Shockwave. Big surprise. If you're going by the comics, which there are like several different origins for Bruticus in the comics, I'm not going to tell them, because there are just too many. Are you kidding me? Come on, Swindle. Peg. Wrong peg holes. I have to lay him down. Or just rip the entire leg off. I am very, very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I hate Swindle with a passion now. From what I understand, he was like the hardest one to find in any store. The only place they apparently had him was at a Walmart. And there were only 2 left. Because Gestalt combiners sell like crazy during Christmas. And finally, his most stable and default form shown in the game. Finally. Since I showed off everything that was entirely possible to show off for now. Shoulder movement with the blast-off arm. That's the elbow, pretty much. And the swivel. Vortex arm. Elbow and swivel. Now, move them out of the way. And if you want, you can actually... let's pull the camera up a little bit. You can fold Vortex's blades out and then pull those out like so and look like he has shoulder blades or something. I don't know. I like to fold them, keep them in like that. And now, again, fold those up. And these things these don't like to stay up, so for now they're being folded down. So we can move on to the uncooperative leg. And the cooperative leg. This one likes to wobble, but at least he's cooperative when it comes to transformation. And yes, this is the first Bruticus with an actual waist joint. Go figure. Well, a good waist joint. I think the Energon one had a waist joint in it too, but it was just crap. So fold those up. And some closing remarks. Or better yet, let's get let's do something of a size comparison here. Because I just had them happening to stand by. Bruticus is big. Not super impressively big, but he's decently big. Big enough to actually be in scale with at least deluxe figures for the most part. Because this is what you expect of an actual in-scale Gestalt made of 5 different figures to be about. With standard deluxe figures. Both War and Fall of Cybertron Optimus Prime. Either way, he's still quite impressive, and I can't even get him all the way on camera without having to pull the camera back. So we'll just take care of those. And now, a couple of other things, some more comments and remarks. I actually like the retail colors. I wish I had gotten the G2 colors, because I had the G2 Bruticus toy when I was little, and I only have... The only one I'm missing is Brawl, and Vortex, the little thing that flips out of his chest, broke off when I tried to combine him with the aerial bots. The peg is still inside Silverbolt's shoulder, and to this day I've not been able to get it out and glue it back onto Vortex. But with them, their colors just popped because G2 neon. These guys are neon, but in a completely different way that makes all of them stand out. And if I could, if I knew how and how much they were and where to buy them, I would actually make this Shattered Glass Bruticus. I couldn't tell you what their personalities would be like other than mirror images of what they are. At least in the G1 universe, but these colors don't bother me in the least. I actually appreciate them for their neonness, and he kind of sticks out more, at least on a shelf. So, I guess that's my closing remarks, and if you can actually get Bruticus, pick him up for a reasonable price. The Japanese version is really expensive, going in at about $120 or $130, about $30 more than the Comic-Con version, which is 3/5 beige anyway. Basically, you have beige, 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 green and brown or black. The Japanese version is game accurate, and then you have the G2 version, which is G2 accurate. So it's all up to personal choice, since there are like 5 versions of him, and then you have the Wreckers remold, the Wreckers recolor and remold coming up either this year or next year or whenever that's going to happen. If I ever get the Wreckers, don't count on me doing this because this was painful enough already. Okay then, and wow, 42 minutes. I guess that's the end of this video, and I will see you next week with something that isn't so painful. Later.